You ever been knocked off your horse? You were going along, you got momentum, you're very focused, and then all of a sudden something or someone come along and out of nowhere and knock you off your horse. You don't know what happened. You don't know how to necessarily get up and how to start back over again because it took you so much energy to get up the first time, to be able to get up on the horse, to get momentum, to get everything going. Well, today I am here to let you know that you can get up. Yes, you. You can get up. I know it's tough. I've been where you are, and you've been here before, and it was hard getting back up the last time. I don't know if I have the strength. That's probably what you're saying to yourself. I don't know if I have the strength to get up this time because it was so difficult getting up the last time. But you don't have to have the strength. You're not the one that need to have the strength. It is the one on the inside of you, the person on the inside of you that has the strength to help you to get up. Sometimes you have to get up not knowing, even with fear, even with intimidation, even with the odds are against you, but hope and expectations will help you to be able to get up. And you may say, I don't know if I will mount up back on my horse and if I will be able to ride off into life again, because it was hard for me to do this the first time. But because I really, really want to reach the goal that I have, I will get up. I will try again. I will get back on the horse. I will get momentum. I will get focused, and I will get to my destination. Introduce you to Mary. Mary was a mother of two and a very loyal employee. Not only that, but she loved her job that she did every day, going to work as a nurse. And it was also a job where she met many friends. She loved the employer, and she really was expecting to stay there and do well. She also was a family person who loved her home and was the heartbeat of her home. She did what many women do every day. She showed up, she worked hard, she scratched her paycheck, she stayed up late helping with homework, and gave all to the company she believed in. But just 2 weeks before Christmas, everything changed. One December morning, Mary got an unexpected call from her boss who told her that the company was going in a different direction and that she no longer was going to be employed and that she would also just get a 2 week paycheck and she was being downsized. Just like that, she had no warning, no cushion, and no paycheck coming in. Now I want you to imagine this. It's Christmas season. Your kids are writing letters to Santa. The lights are twinkling around the neighborhood and inside your home. You're sitting and you're looking at possible eviction notices. You have the bills are now going to start coming in for the light, the water, and all of the other subscriptions and everything else that you have, not to mention the high price of groceries, and now the weight, the heaviness, the shame is really real. She felt like she had failed as a provider, as a mom, and as a woman. Yes, she cried. She questioned, how could this happen to me? She had nights that she couldn't sleep and mornings she couldn't eat. But here's where the story shifts. Mary decided that although I was knocked off my horse of life, I would not stay down. It was a hard decision, but one that Mary had to make. She started with a single step. She pulled out a notebook and created a budget, not a fancy one, just a simple budget about how to cover the absolutely needed to be covered expenses. She called her utility companies, asked about hardship programs. She looked up free meal services. She also relied on her family and support from friends. Also, she looked for nonprofits that were providing holiday gifts for children. And it was, yes, humbling, trying to accept help from others that she had helped in the past. And then she also had to ask for gas money from friends and family. And she had to look for other job openings, which was very difficult because at that time it wasn't anything or anyone hiring. But Mary stayed praying, and she not only prayed, but she also did affirmations. And because of her affirmations and her praying and her doing the work of the budgeting and support from family and friends, Mary was able to eventually land a part-time job. And with that part-time job, she was able to go out to a community college and apply for tuition and for a grant and for a retraining program. And she was able to go back to school on her days off and in the evenings. And by the following Christmas, Mary wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. She was halfway through a degree, and she was running a side business, and she was saving up for her first family vacation in years. So here's what I want you to remember. You can lose your job, you can lose your income, but don't lose your hope. You are allowed to fall, but you're also allowed to rise again. Mary made her comeback. It didn't start with a miracle. It didn't start with a handout. Of course, she would love if someone would have came by and gave her a big check. But that did not happen for Mary. It started with a choice. A choice to get up, a choice to believe that her current situation was not her final situation. So if you've been knocked down off of your horse, it's time to start getting up. Dust yourself off, take the first small step, and begin. We're going to talk about how to come back when life knocks you down and you lose momentum and focus. When setbacks hit hard, job loss, illness, divorce, burnout, or financial breakthrough, the comeback isn't just about recovery, it is about realignment. And it requires intentional healing and rebuilding in 4 key areas: our emotions, our physical, relationships, and financial. Now, first of all, for our emotional comeback, we have to reclaim our inner stability. First, we have to name our season. Instead of denying the fall, acknowledge I am in a rebuilding phase. Limit self-blame. I know it's hard to not blame yourself, but replace why did this happen to me? You can't spend a whole lot of time on that. With what can this teach me so that I can learn from this and recover? Then you have those micro wins daily. Celebrate simple wins like making your bed, journaling, taking a walk. Small wins rewire your brain for confidence. Also, celebrate those wins that when you are able to make steps and little progress, acknowledge the little bit of progress that you did make, because that's going to help you to encourage you to do the next step. Now, then you want to use affirmation anchors, because when you keep reaffirming yourself, a lot of times we have to combat self doubt and negative speaking. A lot of times we get negative speaking in our head and we start self doubting. And so, to combat that, we must then use affirmation anchors, like practice daily phrases like, I bend but I don't break, I'll rebuild stronger, and use those affirmations to help you to rewire your thinking so that you can have what you need to be able to get back on focus. Then there is physically resetting the body to support the mind. First, we have to reestablish a routine, because what happens when life throws you off focus, a lot of time we get off our routine, and then we find ourselves sometimes even going back to negative behaviors. And what it does is it causes us to not be stable. So we want to go back to stability, and we have to reestablish that routine. It's the same as far as, most people who exercise. When you stop exercising, it's hard to get back on your routine. But once you reestablish it, then you find yourself wanting to do it, or knowing that you have to do it, and it's easier every day as you keep going. Now, of course, we want to move with intention. We need to aim for 20 to 30 minutes of daily moving, even if it's a low impact movement, because this will help us physically to be able to get back on focus. It'll help our mind as far as our mental state. And of course, along with that is the sleep and hydration. A lot of times we like to overlook that, but sleep is very important because it rejuvenates your mind. Then focus on recovery nutrition. The nutrition part is the whole foods. We talked about hydration, magnesium rich foods, which can regulate your mood and help reduce fatigue, because many a times when we fall off our focus, the first thing we do is we get tired from the stress, and then we may start eating bad foods, and then we also become very where we don't want to get up and get started. And then not just track your energy, not only your weight, because energy is a better comeback matrix than the scale number. So you want to check your energy level when you're physically and you know that you're off kilter. Check your energy level so that you can monitor, are you getting back where you need to be? And then, of course, relationships. We want to rebuild the trust and safe connections. Steps to get back to our relationships is emotional, supportive relationships, help reduce cortisol, and rebuild a sense of identity. And a lot of times when we're off focus, we tend to neglect those relationships that we have that are our support system, those relationships that we need to support, like our children and our family and our friends and even our loved ones. So we want to audit that circle. Surround ourselves with people who speak life into us and not doubt. And so those are the relationships we want to elevate, and those relationships that are causing you to doubt and to have fear and feed those negative emotions, we want to try to put a balance or give them boundaries. Then communicate honestly. Say, I am in the process of rebuilding. I need encouragement. Not necessarily I want you to fix everything. I just need you to encourage and support me while I'm going through this process of rebuilding. And finally, reinvest in quality over quantity. A few authentic relationships are more powerful than any or many surface ones. Because sometimes we want to go out and be among the crowd, but the crowd is not going to give us the energy and the support and the fullness that we need. We need to, a lot of times, get back around the people that really love us and really care for us. Yes, going through a tough time, losing momentum, losing your focus, feeling like you've got knocked off the horse of life can be very discouraging and daunting, and it can become very overwhelming. But there are steps that you and I can take to help us to make that comeback.
And if this spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Take the journey with us by subscribing to the Small Steps, Big Changes podcast. Follow at MOMAFEY-HT. Like this episode, share it with a sister who needs it, and if you believe in this mission, consider supporting the podcast with a small gift to keep this message going. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss a step on your comeback journey. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. And your comeback? It starts today. Let's go.